Welcome, dear listener. Tonight, we drift far back in time to the cold northern lands where the sea meets rugged cliffs and the wind carries whispers of old stories. Today, we tear a page from history to explore the quiet rhythm of life in a small Viking village where wooden halls stand strong against the wind, where families gather by firelight, and where every sunrise begins with simple labor, and every sunset ends with tales of gods and heroes. Before we begin, I kindly invite you to relax, to let your mind wander, to like this video if it soothes you, to subscribe if you wish for more journeys through history, and to share where in the world you are listening from. Now, let us step softly into the stillness of a Viking village, where the crackle of fire and the rhythm of the sea will guide us gently into tonight's story. The first light of dawn spills gently across the northern sky, pale and cold, as if the sun itself is reluctant to rise over the rugged cliffs and deep fjords. The Viking village lies quietly at the water's edge, its cluster of long wooden houses crouched low against the wind, their thatched roofs already touched with frost. Thin trails of smoke drift lazily upward from the central hearths, curling into the still air like ghostly ribbons. The village stirs slowly, shaking off the silence of night, as another day begins in the land of sea and stone. Inside the largest longhouse, shadows flicker against wooden beams, blackened by years of smoke. The fire, kept smoldering through the night, is coaxed awake with careful hands. Sparks leap upward, catching on dry twigs, until flames lick and crackle, pushing warmth into the cold room. A pot of porridge, thick with barley, hangs over the embers, and the rich smell of bread, flat and coarse but comforting, begins to fill the air. Women move quietly, wrapped in woolen dresses, their hair braided neatly, their hands steady from years of the same morning ritual. Children stir under heavy blankets, rubbing their eyes, stretching their small limbs, listening to the familiar sound of the fire's crackle. Outside, the men step into the pale morning light, pulling heavy cloaks tight against the chill. Their breath clouds before them as they cross the frozen earth toward the boats pulled up along the shore. The fjord glitters like steel, its surface broken by rippling waves that slap against the sides of the vessels. Fishing is the lifeblood of the village, and the sea always calls first. Nets, repaired by lamplight during long winter nights, are loaded into the boats, along with wooden oars polished smooth by countless journeys. The men push off, their voices low, their movements practiced, the creak of wood and the splash of water mingling in the stillness. Back within the village, not everyone's work begins on the water. Some tend to the animals, stepping into the barns where goats bleat softly and cows shift their weight, waiting for the first milking of the day. The smell of hay and warm breath fills the air, and the steady rhythm of hands draws milk into wooden pails. Others step into the frosty fields, carrying small tools to check the winter stores of turnips and cabbage, carefully preserved in pits dug deep into the ground. The land is harsh, but every scrap of food matters. Children, once awake and fed, are set to their own small tasks. They gather firewood, chase chickens, or carry water from the stream. Their laughter, high and bright, weaves through the steady rhythm of chores, a reminder that even in a life shaped by hard work, there is is room for play. Sometimes the older ones are taught small lessons: how to tie a knot, how to mend a net, how to listen to the forest's signs. The Viking way is to prepare each child early, so that when the time comes, they know their role. By mid-morning, the village is alive. Smoke rises from every roof, voices mingle in the crisp air, and the heartbeat of daily life quickens. The blacksmith, his hammer ringing like a bell, begins work in his small forge, shaping iron into nails, tools, and weapons. Sparks fly with every strike, glowing briefly before fading into the dust. His work is steady, strong, and essential, for the sea may provide food, but the forge gives the village its tools of survival. In the distance, the forest looms dark and endless, its pines standing like silent guards. Men with axes step into the shadows, felling trees that will be used for firewood, new boats, or the endless repairs demanded by the harsh northern weather. The forest creaks and sighs with every swing, the sound carrying back toward the village, blending with the clang of iron and the murmur of voices. As the sun climbs higher, weak but steady, the Viking village finds its rhythm. Life here is woven of simple threads: fire, water, wood, iron, and the sea. Every person has a place, every hand a task. The morning passes not in haste, but with the steady pace of people who know that survival depends on balance, on each day's work flowing into the next. In the stillness of the fjord, in the hum of labor, in the warmth of shared fires, the story of a Viking day unfolds. By the time the sun rises higher, faint though it may be, in the northern sky, the Viking village is fully awake. The morning's work has given way to the steady rhythm of midday, and the air is filled with the mingling scents of firewood smoke, baking bread and salted fish drying on wooden racks. The fjord glimmers under the pale light, a sheet of silver stretching out toward the sea, and gulls circle above, their cries sharp and wild. The sounds of life overlap: the ring of the blacksmith's hammer, the creak of leather as farmers bend to their tasks, the chatter of children darting between longhouses, their voices carrying like birdsong. In the longhouse, women prepare the midday meal. Large wooden bowls of fish stew bubble gently, thickened with herbs gathered from the forest edge and bits of onion stored from autumn. Alongside it, coarse bread is baked, its crust dark from the fire, its taste plain but nourishing. The smell drifts outside, drawing the hungry back from their work. Meals are not lavish, but they are filling, designed to strengthen the body for more labor. Everyone eats together, sitting on wooden benches or woven mats, sharing from the same bowls with wooden spoons, drinking fresh water or, on occasion, a little ale brewed from barley. Children crowd close, eager and restless. The smaller ones are fed first, while the older children wait their turn. Stories are told in soft voices, often teaching lessons hidden beneath simple tales, warnings of what happens if chores are neglected, or reminders of the gods who watch over every task. Around the fire, laughter and murmurs blend, a soft background hum that speaks of community, of lives woven tightly together. When the meal is done, the village does not linger. Work calls again. Fishermen return from the water, pulling their boats ashore, their nets heavy with the morning's catch. Silver-scaled herring and cod glisten in the light, piled into baskets to be salted or hung to dry on wooden racks set high above the ground. The women and older children help with this work, their hands moving quickly, rubbing coarse salt into the fish, stringing them on lines, ensuring that food will last through the lean months when the sea is too dangerous to sail. The air fills with the sharp, salty tang of curing fish, a smell both harsh and comforting, promising survival through the long winter. Beyond the shore, others turn back to the fields and animals. Sheep graze on the sparse grass, their wool thick and tangled, soon to be sheared and spun into thread. Goats are herded carefully, their milk carried back to the longhouses in wooden pails, soon to be turned into cheese. In the small fenced fields, men and women dig at the hard earth with simple tools, checking the health of root vegetables buried deep for storage. The soil is poor, but careful hands draw enough from it to sustain the village. Every turnip, every onion, every leaf of cabbage matters. As the sun crosses its highest point, shadows fall short and sharp. The blacksmith pauses his hammering to take a drink of water, his face streaked with soot, his arms slick with sweat despite the chill in the air. His forge crackles, the glow of molten iron pulsing like a heartbeat. Nearby, a weaver sits on a low stool, pulling wool through her fingers, twisting and spinning it into yarn. The rhythm of her hands is slow, steady, like the rhythm of the sea. Around her, scraps of dyed cloth, red from madder roots, blue from woad, yellow from birch bark, brighten the dim world of wood and stone. Clothing here is not just practical, but a quiet expression of care and beauty. Children return to their tasks, though their play continues to weave through the work. They chase one another around the storage sheds, their laughter ringing across the open space before being called back to gather kindling or fetch water. The older ones watch the adults closely, eager to learn. A boy helps mend a net, fingers fumbling but determined, while a girl learns to weave simple patterns into cloth, her brow furrowed in concentration. These moments of learning are small, but they shape the future. Each skill passed down ensures the village will endure. By afternoon, the air hums with activity, yet there is no rush, no sense of haste. Life here flows in measured steps, guided by the seasons, the sea, and the cycle of day and night. The villagers know that survival is not a matter of speed, but of steadiness, of returning to the same tasks with patience again and again. The sun may not linger long in these northern skies, but while it shines, every hand is busy, every soul engaged. The day moves forward, quietly, steadily, as the Viking village continues its timeless rhythm. The afternoon settles over the Viking village with a quiet patience. The pale sun drifts lower in the sky, though still strong enough to cast sharp beams across the fjord, where the water glitters like broken glass. The steady rhythm of work has not slowed, only shifted. Some remain near the shore, salting fish or mending nets, while others head into the fields and forests that surround the settlement, places where life is coaxed from the earth or drawn from the wild. In the fields, men and women bend low over the soil, turning it with wooden tools bound by iron. Their movements are slow but purposeful, each cut into the earth measured, deliberate. The soil here is rocky and thin, yet every handful can yield food if treated with care. On this day, the villagers check the pits where root vegetables are stored for winter. They lift away branches and turf to reveal baskets filled with turnips, carrots, and hardy cabbages. The smell of damp earth rises as the baskets are opened, and there is a quiet relief when the vegetables are found in good condition. These stores are their safety net, their shield against hunger in the deep of winter. Children gather nearby, stacking the branches neatly after their elders are done, their small hands quick and eager to help. Beyond the fields, the forest rises dark and tall, its pines whispering in the wind. Here, other villagers work with axes and knives, cutting wood for building and fire. The crack of an axe against a tree echoes deep among the trunks, followed by the creak of timber as it gives way. The forest floor is soft with needles, and the air smells of resin and sap. Men work in pairs, one swinging the axe, the other guiding the fall. When a tree crashes down, it shakes the ground, scattering birds into the sky. The logs are stripped of branches and hauled by oxen back toward the village, where they will be cut into planks for boats, beams for houses, or kindling for countless fires. While the men fell trees, others wander deeper into the forest, hunting for game. A pair of hunters move quietly through the undergrowth, boughs in hand, eyes sharp. They look for signs, hoof prints in soft earth, broken twigs, tufts of fur snagged on branches. Sometimes they find deer or elk, their movements swift and silent as they release arrows. Other times, the forest offers smaller game, hares, birds, or even the occasional fox. Every catch matters, for meat is precious, and the pelts provide warmth. The hunters move like shadows, blending into the silence, their presence known only by the brief rustle of leaves. The forest is also a place of gathering. Women and children collect herbs, berries, and mushrooms, though they do so with caution, for many plants here are dangerous. The older women know which herbs heal wounds, which soothe sickness, which must never be touched. Their knowledge is passed carefully to the younger ones, who learn to recognize leaves and stems, to smell the difference between safe and deadly. Baskets slowly fill with wild treasures, clusters of lingonberries, sprigs of thyme, roots dug from the soil. These will season stews, brew teas, and fill the small chests of medicine that every household keeps. Closer to the village, the clang of the blacksmith's hammer fades as he too steps into the light, his work paused for the day. He joins others at the edge of the fields where a fence is being repaired. Posts are set deep into the ground, bound with rope and reinforced with stones. Fences protect the precious fields from wandering animals, and every repair means food preserved. Children watch, learning how the posts must be set straight, how the knots must hold against the wind. Small hands mimic the motions, practicing skills they will one day need. By late afternoon, the light begins to soften. The air grows cooler, shadows stretch longer, and the forest takes on a hushed tone, as if holding its breath. Hunters return, sometimes with game slung over their shoulders, sometimes with only empty hands. Either way, they are greeted warmly, for every effort is valued. The woodcutters bring their loads, stacking logs neatly in piles, their muscles aching, but their hearts steady. In the fields, The last baskets are covered, the earth pressed down again to keep the cold at bay. The village slowly gathers its people back from the wide world. From sea, from field, from forest, they return. Their work for the day, etched in dirt and sweat, in aching backs and calloused hands. Yet there is no complaint, for this is the rhythm of life, the endless cycle of labor and rest, of giving and taking from the land. The sun dips lower still, its light golden now, washing the longhouses and the fjord in a glow that feels both fragile and eternal. The village breathes together, one heartbeat, steady and strong, as another part of the day draws to a close. As the sun sinks lower, a golden glow spreads over the village, and shadows stretch long across the wooden planks and frozen earth. The fjord shimmers with fading light, reflecting the quiet of the evening. Life in the Viking village begins to shift as the day's labor winds down, and the long houses, filled with the smell of fire and cooking, become the center of warmth and community. The clatter of tools fades, replaced by the softer sounds of voices, laughter, and the occasional bark of a dog. Inside the longhouse, the hearth burns brightly, sending sparks upward toward the high wooden beams. Women and older children stir pots of stew, thick with fish, root vegetables, and herbs gathered earlier in the day. The bread, baked and cooled on the flat stones, is sliced with care, and small wooden bowls are set for each family member. The aroma fills every corner, inviting those who worked in fields, forests, or by the shore to gather around. The longhouse, sturdy and simple, is alive with the rhythm of home, the comfort of a space built for warmth, protection, and togetherness. Children run between the tables carrying bowls of food or chasing one another around the edges of the room. Their laughter rises above the soft murmur of adults speaking quietly, a reminder that even in the northern cold, life continues with playful energy. The elders tell stories as they eat, their voices low but clear, recounting tales of gods and heroes, of battles fought and wisdom earned, of storms at sea and strange creatures glimpsed in the forest. Every story is a lesson, a warning, a connection to the world beyond the village and the generations that came before. Men who return from the fjord bring the day's catch carefully cleaned and salted, placing it on racks to dry above the hearth or near the open windows to the cold night air. The smell of the curing fish mingles with the stew and bread, a strong scent that marks survival, the reward of effort, and the promise of nourishment through long, harsh nights. Some men check their tools, sharpening knives, repairing nets, or polishing the wooden handles of oars, while others simply sit near the fire, rubbing tired hands and resting muscles sore from hours of labor. The longhouse is a place of preparation and reflection. Women mend clothes, sewing torn hems or weaving small patches into woolen garments. Each stitch is careful, steady, purposeful, a quiet echo of the day's rhythm. The older children watch, learning with attentive eyes, while the youngest sit close to the fire, their faces flushed from warmth, listening to the quiet crackle of the flames. Outside, the wind sweeps across the village, bending the thin reeds atop thatched roofs, rattling wooden shutters. Yet inside, there is safety, comfort, and the gentle companionship of family and neighbors. As darkness begins to fall, the village slows even further. Shadows deepen in corners, and the golden light of the hearth grows more pronounced, illuminating faces tired but content. Stories give way to quieter conversations, plans for the next day, reminders to tend animals, check supplies, or repair tools. A soft sense of order emerges, a balance between work completed and rest awaited. The fire burns lower, sparks floating briefly before fading into the smoke that escapes through the roof. Outside, the fjord glimmers dimly, reflecting the final traces of sunset. The forest beyond seems almost black, the tall pines silhouetted against the sky. From time to time, the cry of a bird or the rustle of a small animal carries across the frozen ground, reminders that life continues beyond the village, that the wild is always near. Inside, the longhouse holds its own quiet magic. The steady glow of fire, the low hum of conversation, the rhythm of hands moving in tasks learned and repeated over generations. Evening in the Viking village is a time of restoration, of reflection, and of the gentle gathering of strength for tomorrow. Here, the world narrows to hearth, family, and community. Work is complete, stories have been told, meals have been shared, and the first hints of night stillness enter the longhouse, promising a gentle transition from day into darkness. Night descends slowly over the Viking village, folding the fjord and the surrounding forests into shadows. The pale light of the evening sun has faded, leaving a faint glow along the horizon. Stars begin to prick the sky, and the wind moves quietly through the pines, carrying with it the distant murmur of waves. The longhouses, sturdy and warm, glow from within, each hearth a small beacon against the dark. Smoke curls from chimneys, drifting upward into the crisp night air, carrying the scent of firewood, cooking, and warmth. Inside, families gather around the central hearth. The fire burns low but steady, casting flickering shadows across the walls, illuminating faces lined with labor and laughter. Women tend to the last chores of the day, mending clothes, weaving small scraps of wool into patterns, stirring pots to keep a gentle simmer. Their hands move carefully, almost rhythmically, each motion a quiet echo of generations before them. Children sit close, their eyes wide and attentive, listening as stories begin to weave through the warm air. These are the stories of gods, heroes, and legendary warriors. Tales of Odin's wisdom, Thor's strength, and Loki's clever mischief unfold in soft, measured tones. Sometimes the elders recount events from the village's past, the harsh winter that was survived, the great hunt that brought the community together, the times when the sea was both enemy and provider. Each story carries lessons: bravery, patience, respect for nature, and the knowledge that every action, however small, affects the whole. The children are rapt, leaning forward, their faces lit by the fire's glow. Some giggle at Loki's tricks, others shiver at the dangers of distant lands and wild creatures. The adults speak less, listening as well, allowing the rhythm of stories to bind them together. The crackle of the fire punctuates the words, each spark rising briefly into the chimney, a small reminder of life's fragile yet persistent flame. Outside, the village is quiet. The fjord reflects the moon and stars, a silver mirror stretching to the horizon. Wolves may call in the distance, and the wind rustles the branches. But within the long houses there is safety, the sound of human presence, footsteps on wooden floors, the scrape of a pot, the whisper of conversation, forms a protective cocoon against the darkness. Some villagers sit in silence after the stories, simply watching the fire, allowing their minds to wander. The elders reflect on the day's work. The children imagine the adventures recounted to them, and the quiet of night settles over everyone. Soon, the youngest are tucked into straw beds, wrapped in thick blankets, the warmth of the fire keeping the cold at bay. Their breathing slows, deepens, and the gentle hum of sleep fills the longhouse. As night deepens, the village becomes still. Only the fire remains as a flickering guardian, its light dancing across wooden beams and the faces of those who remain awake a little longer. Tasks are finished, preparations for tomorrow quietly considered, and a sense of balance rests over the settlement. In this quiet, the Viking village finds its peace, a world held together by labor, care, community, and the enduring rhythm of day giving way to night. The village lies quiet under the midnight sky, wrapped in the deep blue of northern night. Stars sparkle faintly above, scattered like tiny lanterns across the heavens, and the moon casts a pale silver light over frozen earth and still waters. The fjord is calm, its surface reflecting the sky, broken only by the occasional ripple of a fish or the distant flap of a bird. Wind whispers through the pine trees, bending their tall forms, but the village itself seems untouched, held in a gentle, frozen pause. Inside the long houses, most have long since drifted into sleep. The youngest children lie tucked in straw mattresses, their small bodies warm beneath thick blankets, their breathing soft and rhythmic. The fire burns low in the hearths, glowing faintly, sending flickers of orange and gold across wooden beams and walls. A few elders remain awake, sitting quietly near the flames, their eyes reflecting the dancing light, their thoughts drifting through memories, stories, and the day that has passed. Outside, the silence is profound. The occasional howl of a distant wolf carries across the fjord, a reminder of the wild that surrounds the settlement. Snow crunches softly under the feet of a lone villager, returning from checking the animals, ensuring goats and sheep are safe and secure. The creak of the wooden fence and the soft lowing of cows provide a gentle lullaby to those still awake. Every sound seems amplified in the stillness, yet nothing feels threatening. The village is enclosed in a cocoon of warmth, labor, and vigilance. The wind through the pines is a constant companion, sighing and rustling, yet it blends with the distant lapping of water on the shore, forming a quiet rhythm. Inside, the hearths crackle faintly, sending tiny sparks upward. The smell of embers and wood smoke hangs in the air, a comforting aroma that marks the persistence of human presence in this wild northern land. The elders speak in whispers sometimes, recounting fragments of old tales, stories meant to honor the gods, the ancestors, and the natural world. Their voices are low, almost blending with the night itself, shaping dreams even as sleep deepens. Animals are settled in barns and pens. Goats chew quietly on hay, their small breaths puffing in the cold air. Cows shift gently in their stalls, their warmth shared among each other. Outside, The forest seems vast, dark, and endless, yet the village feels protected, a small sanctuary of warmth and community in the midst of wilderness. The moonlight traces patterns on the snow-covered roofs, and the quiet hum of life, soft, steady, enduring, wraps the settlement like a blanket. As midnight deepens, even the elders' voices fade. The long houses breathe with the slow rhythm of sleepers, the occasional creak of wood marking the passage of time. Outside, the stars wheel silently across the sky. The moon casts its calm light, and the northern winds whisper through the pines. Here, in the frozen silence, the Viking village rests, a small world of life and warmth held gently against the night, ready to awaken again with the first touch of dawn. The night stretches on, deep and calm, as the Viking village rests under the quiet gaze of the stars. The fjord lies like a silver mirror, reflecting the faint glow of the moon. The wind moves gently through the pines, rustling the needles with a soft sigh, a sound that mixes with the distant drip of melting ice from frozen branches. The village is wrapped in stillness, every longhouse holding its warmth, every hearth its lingering glow. Inside, the fire burns low, casting tiny shadows that dance across the wooden walls. Most of the villagers sleep, breathing evenly, bodies curled under thick blankets of wool. The youngest lie huddled close to their mothers, while older children stretch on straw mattresses, dreaming of adventures and games. Even the adults, who labored long and hard in fields, forests, and on the sea, rest quietly, the rhythm of the village slowing to match the pulse of night. Occasionally, a quiet footstep or the soft scrape of a door signals someone still awake. Perhaps an elder walks the hall, ensuring all is well, or a villager checks the animals once more, making sure that goats, sheep, and cows are safe for the night. The sound is soft, careful, respectful of the deep sleep surrounding them. Outside, the distant howl of a wolf or the rustle of small animals reminds the village of the wild beyond, but it brings no fear. The settlement is secure, each longhouse a haven, each person a guardian of the other. The smell of smoldering embers fills the long houses, mingling with the faint scent of dried herbs, salt from preserved fish, and the earthy aroma of straw mattresses. The fire crackles occasionally, a comforting reminder of human presence, of warmth, of life persisting in the cold northern wilderness. Within the flickering shadows, the elders sometimes speak in whispers, telling fragments of stories of gods and heroes, of lessons hidden in past deeds. Their voices are soft, almost blending into the night, but their tales travel into the dreams of listeners, carrying wisdom, courage, and memory. Beyond the walls of the village, the forest is dark and vast. The trees stand tall and still, their branches swaying gently in the wind. Snow lies thick in places, muffling sound, giving the night an almost magical serenity. Occasionally, the distant cry of an owl echoes across the fjord, a sentinel in the quiet hours. The water laps softly at the shoreline, its gentle movement a steady accompaniment to the hushed heartbeat of the village. As midnight passes into the early hours before dawn, the world seems suspended. Time slows, breath deepens, and the village holds its collective quiet, a fragile but enduring peace, Every ember, every sleeping body, every whisper of wind, and every distant star contributes to the soft rhythm of life here. In these hours, the Viking village is a place of safety, of rest, of continuity, a living world breathing in tandem with the quiet, cold night. Soon, beyond the horizon, the first hint of dawn will appear, a pale promise of light and labor. But for now, the village exists in perfect stillness. This is the time when dreams drift freely, when the stories told at the hearth weave into sleep, and when the rhythm of life pauses, only to begin anew with the sun. The first light of dawn creeps slowly over the horizon, pale and soft, brushing the tips of the mountains and the frozen fjord with delicate hues of gold and pink. The night retreats quietly, leaving a hushed stillness over the Viking village. Long houses, dark and silent for hours, begin to glow from within as hearths are rekindled, sending faint smoke spiraling into the crisp morning air. The rhythm of life stirs gently, yet the village holds the calm of early day, the fragile moments before labor resumes. Inside the largest longhouse, the fire is coaxed back to life. Sparks leap and catch on dry twigs, crackling faintly and filling the room with warmth. The aroma of porridge begins to rise, thick barley and dried berries simmering gently in wooden pots. Women move through the room, their hands steady from years of routine, arranging bread, checking water, and preparing for the day. Children awaken slowly, rubbing eyes, stretching limbs, their small breaths fogging the cold air. Outside, the faint calls of gulls echo from the fjord, announcing the start of another day. Men step outside, pulling heavy cloaks tighter against the chill. Their breath hangs like smoke as they move toward the shore, where boats wait quietly in the shallow water. Nets are gathered, repaired, and loaded, oars polished and ready. The sea, calm now in the soft light, glimmers faintly, reflecting the sky's pastel hues. Fishermen push off gently, the rhythmic dip of oars mingling with the lapping of waves, a measured cadence that will continue through the morning. Every motion is purposeful, practiced, a part of life that has repeated here for generations. Back in the village, others tend to animals and fields. Goats and sheep are milked, cows checked for warmth and comfort, and the barns are filled with the soft murmur of animals beginning their day. Children are given small chores, gathering firewood, carrying water, or helping tend the animals. Lessons are quiet but constant, teaching patience, skill, and respect for the land and creatures that provide for them. Even the youngest learn the importance of careful hands, attentive eyes, and steady steps. The forest beyond stirs in the early light. Hunters leave with bows in hand, moving silently through the undergrowth, listening for the faintest signs of movement. The wind rustles branches, birds take flight, and the occasional rustle of small animals reminds the village that life beyond the walls is constant, alive, and demanding respect. Every arrow released, every herb gathered, every tree felled is an interaction with a world both wild and essential to the village's survival. As the sun climbs higher, light stretches across the fjord, illuminating every detail of wooden planks, frozen earth, and thatched roofs. Smoke rises from chimneys, mingling with the cold northern air, marking warmth, life, and continuity. Each step, each action, is part of the endless cycle, an unbroken chain connecting generations, the earth, the sea, and the sky. Dawn over the Viking village is a gentle promise, a soft reminder of life's endurance, and a quiet invitation to begin anew. In these first moments of light, the world feels both vast and intimately known, a place where every person has a role, every task its purpose, and every day a rhythm to follow. With steady hands and watchful hearts, the village is fully awake now, bathed in the soft golden light of early morning. Smoke rises steadily from each longhouse chimney, curling lazily into the cold northern air. Children stretch and yawn, rubbing sleep from their eyes, while elders move quietly, checking on the animals and ensuring that all is ready for the day ahead. The rhythm of labor begins again, measured and purposeful, as if the village itself inhales with the first touch of dawn. Hearths are stoked, and the aroma of porridge, thick with barley and berries, drifts through every long house. Wooden spoons stir gently, bowls are filled, and small hands carry food carefully to those just rising. Conversation is quiet but lively, soft laughter mingling with the clatter of dishes. Even in these first hours, the importance of routine is clear. Every meal, every small chore is a preparation for the work that will sustain the village through day and night. Men gather tools, their leather boots crunching over frost-hardened earth as they head toward the fjord. Boats rest quietly in shallow water, nets coiled and oars polished. Fishermen push off with slow, deliberate strokes, the rhythm of paddles dipping into water, blending with the distant cry of gulls. The sea, calm in the morning light, mirrors the soft hues of sky and mountains, reflecting the steady pulse of life along its shores. Each catch, whether herring, cod, or trout, will feed families and be salted or dried for the months ahead. In the fields, others resume work. Goats and sheep are milked, cows checked, and the fences inspected to ensure wandering animals do not disturb crops. Small children help gather kindling and water, practicing the lessons taught by elders with patient, watchful eyes. Root vegetables stored in pits during winter are carefully checked, and the earth is tended, coaxing nourishment from frozen, rocky soil. Every task is performed with purpose, every hand aware that the village's survival depends on careful, steady effort. The forest beyond the fields stirs as well. Hunters move silently, boughs in hand, tracking signs of deer, elk, or smaller game. The wind through the pines whispers warnings and guidance, leaves rustling as if carrying messages from the wild. Women and older children collect herbs and berries, careful to distinguish the edible from the dangerous, the healing from the harmful. Each basket fills slowly, a treasure trove of resources essential for health, seasoning, and survival. By mid-morning, the village hums with life. Smoke from hearths mingles with the briny scent of drying fish, the earthy aroma of plowed fields, and the crisp freshness of pine from nearby forests. The rhythm of work, oars dipping, axes striking, hands tending animals and plants, creates a steady beat, the heartbeat of the settlement. The Viking village moves as one organism, each member a vital part, each action contributing to the continuity of life. Even as tasks continue, there is a sense of harmony. Children pause to observe, learning from adults, absorbing the lessons of survival, skill, and community. Elders watch patiently, offering guidance only when necessary, allowing the younger to practice independence while maintaining careful oversight. The balance of labor, learning, and observation is delicate but essential. And in these quiet hours, the village sustains itself both physically and socially. Morning in the Viking village is not a rush, but a steady unfolding. Each task completed, each lesson learned, each meal prepared is part of a continuum, a rhythm established by generations. As the sun climbs higher, warming the frozen earth and brightening the fjord, the day fully begins, carrying forward the promise of work, survival, and the small, steady joys of life in a northern settlement. As the sun climbs higher, warming the frozen earth and brightening the fjord, the village settles into the rhythm of midday. Work slows for a moment, giving space for rest, conversation, and simple sustenance. The long houses glow with life, smoke curling from the chimneys, mingling with the crisp northern air. This is the pause between labor and continuation, a gentle breathing of the village as it moves with a steady pulse of daily life. Families gather around hearths once more. Porridge, bread, and small bowls of salted fish are shared, carried carefully by children eager to help. Conversations are soft, filled with laughter, reminders of upcoming tasks, and the occasional tale from elders. Even the smallest story carries lessons. How the village survived a past winter, how a storm was weathered, or how a great hunt once fed every longhouse. These tales are woven into the rhythm of meals, teaching patience, respect, and the value of shared effort. Outside, men continue their work along the fjord and in the fields, taking brief moments to rest, wipe sweat from brows, and drink from wooden cups. Boats drift quietly in shallow water, nets are repaired, and the catch is prepared for drying or salting. Axes strike against wood, felling trees for firewood or construction, while the sound of hooves and lowing animals carries across the village. The mid-morning labor has eased into a steady, almost meditative pace. In the fields, women inspect root vegetables, gather herbs, and tend to crops. Small children assist, carrying water, stacking firewood, or observing carefully as they mimic adult motions. Each task, no matter how small, is a lesson in the balance of effort and care, a step in the unbroken cycle of survival that has sustained the village for generations. Even the simplest chore, carrying a bucket of water or mending a fence, holds importance, teaching responsibility, skill, and the value of attention to detail. The forest beyond hums with life as well. Hunters and gatherers move quietly, taking advantage of the long hours of daylight. They track animals, collect berries and mushrooms, and check traps set in the cool, shadowed woods. Every movement is deliberate, careful, a dance of coexistence with the wild. The wind whispers through the pines, carrying news from distant hills, while birds take flight in sudden bursts, adding motion and sound to the otherwise steady quiet of midday. By now, the village is a mosaic of sound, movement, and scent. Smoke, wood, water, and earth mingle in the crisp northern air, marking the presence of life. Children play briefly in the spaces between work, their laughter a bright thread woven into the daily pattern. Adults move with purpose, their muscles remembering years of labor, their minds attentive to every detail, every need, every small sign of imbalance. Harmony is found not in silence, but in the steady rhythm of coordinated effort. each action measured, each moment significant. As midday stretches on, the village breathes together. The sun rises high, illuminating longhouses, fields, and forests, reminding all that the day is far from over. Tasks completed in the morning pave the way for work still to come, and the balance between effort, rest, and observation continues seamlessly. In the heart of this northern settlement, life moves with measured patience. Every hand, every step, every breath contributing to the ongoing story of survival, community, and enduring rhythm. The sun begins its slow journey westward, casting long shadows across the village. Midday has passed, yet the rhythm of labor continues, steady and deliberate. Men and women return to their tasks with renewed focus, each movement purposeful, each gesture a part of the ongoing life of the settlement. The longhouses hum quietly, the air filled with the mingled scents of baking bread, salted fish, and warm wooden beams. In the fields, crops are inspected once again. Root vegetables are carefully lifted, checked for frost or decay, and stored safely in pits or baskets. Women tend to herbs, teaching children to recognize those that heal and those that could harm. The knowledge of generations is shared quietly, in gestures and words, as the young observe and mimic, absorbing lessons that will serve them in the years to come. Every plant, every seed, every patch of soil holds meaning, a reminder that survival is earned through attention and care. Hunters move quietly through the forest, tracking the movements of deer and elk. Their bows are strung and ready, eyes alert to the slightest rustle of leaves. Small game, birds, and occasional fur-bearing animals are sought as well, for their meat will feed families and their pelts provide warmth during the cold northern nights. Every step is measured, every breath controlled, the forest alive with both challenge and reward. Meanwhile, children assist with smaller tasks, carrying water, stacking wood, or watching the elders mend nets and tools. Their hands are small but steady, guided by patient instruction. They learn not only the skills of work, but the rhythm of patience, the quiet observation required to understand nature and its seasons. Each mistake is corrected gently, each success celebrated, as the lessons of survival are both practical and moral, teaching respect for labor, land, and life. The fjord reflects the high sun, shimmering as fishermen return with the morning's catch, nets heavy with herring, cod, and the occasional trout. The fish are cleaned, salted, and laid on wooden racks to dry, their scent mingling with the aroma of bread and herbs. Axes strike against wood as logs are prepared for winter fires or construction. The day's work continues in a steady pulse, every action part of a larger interconnected rhythm. As the afternoon deepens, a sense of quiet satisfaction settles over the village. Tasks are completed with care, lessons are taught and learned, and each villager contributes to the safety and prosperity of the settlement. The sun begins to lower, casting the first hints of evening across fields, fjord, and forest. Shadows stretch long, and the light takes on a softer, golden hue. The steady rhythm of life slows slightly, yet remains vibrant, a testament to the endurance, skill, and cooperation that define the Viking village. In these hours, the village is alive with both labor and learning, the past guiding the present, and the present shaping the future. Each action is a thread woven into the larger tapestry of life, connecting generations, seasons, and the land itself. As the sun dips closer to the horizon, the villagers prepare to transition into evening, carrying with them the knowledge, effort, and quiet triumphs of the afternoon. As the sun begins its descent toward the horizon, the village is bathed in soft golden light, stretching long shadows across the fields, fjord, and wooden planks of longhouses. The day's labor winds down, yet the rhythm of life remains steady, deliberate, and purposeful. Children finish small tasks, fetching water or stacking firewood, while elders move calmly, ensuring that every chore is completed before nightfall. The village breathes in unison, each villager attuned to the patterns of work, rest, and preparation. Hearths are rekindled as smoke curls lazily from chimneys, drifting upward into the cool evening air. The aroma of bread baking, root vegetables roasting, and salted fish fills the longhouses, mingling with the faint scent of pine from nearby forests. Women move with practiced efficiency, stirring pots, tending fires, and checking that food for the evening meal is ready. The children gather close, their small hands assisting where possible, learning not only the practical skills of survival, but also the rhythms and routines that define life in the northern settlement. In the fields, animals are tended for the final time that day. Goats and sheep are milked, cows checked for warmth, and fences inspected to ensure none have wandered into the crops. The men return from the fjord or forest, carrying the day's catch, repaired tools, and stories of work completed. Each arrival is greeted with quiet nods, occasional laughter, and the sense of shared effort that sustains the village. The fjord reflects the lowering sun, shimmering in gold and silver, a serene reminder of nature's constant presence and the village's reliance upon it. As evening deepens, villagers begin preparations for the night. Nets and boats are secured, firewood is stacked carefully, and tools are stored neatly within longhouses. Children are reminded to finish small chores, helping elders, carrying water, or tidying communal spaces. Lessons continue quietly. Patience, careful observation, and respect for work are taught in subtle ways, through guidance and gentle correction. Every action, no matter how small, contributes to the collective safety and well-being of the settlement. The forest beyond the village grows darker, shadows stretching long across the ground, yet the settlement remains a warm, glowing center of life. Hunters and gatherers return, bringing with them herbs, berries, and small game, all essential for food, medicine, and survival. Conversations drift softly through the longhouses, tales of gods, heroes, and ancestors intertwining with practical advice. The elders' voices are calm and steady, weaving lessons of courage, skill, and community into the fabric of evening. By the time the first stars appear, the village has fully transitioned from day to evening. Fires burn brightly in hearths, casting flickering light across walls and faces. The scent of cooked meals fills the air, signaling the gathering of families and neighbors around the longhouse tables. Work has paused, but learning continues, stories are shared, and the quiet pulse of the settlement is maintained. Evening in the Viking village is not merely a time of rest, but a period of reflection, preparation, and the steady continuity of life. As darkness grows, the village prepares to enter night, carrying with it the lessons, efforts, and small triumphs of a full day. Every villager knows that this rhythm, repeated day after day, season after season, is what ensures survival, strengthens community, and preserves the enduring spirit of the northern settlement. As night fully settles over the Viking village, long houses glow warmly against the cool darkness. Hearths burn steadily, casting flickering light across walls, beams, and faces. Smoke rises in lazy spirals, carrying the rich scent of evening meals of roasting meat, warm porridge, and fresh bread. Families gather around tables, passing bowls, sharing food, and exchanging stories of the day's work, the successes and challenges, and the small victories that sustain life in the northern settlement. Children sit close to their parents, eager to hear tales woven between bites of food. These are stories of gods, heroes, and ancestors, of great hunts, fierce storms, and daring voyages across the fjord. Elders speak in calm, measured tones, their voices rising and falling like the rhythm of the sea. Every story carries lessons: patience, courage, cleverness, respect for nature, and the value of community. Laughter punctuates the darker tales, and children lean forward, wide-eyed, absorbing both the wonder and caution hidden within each tale. Outside, the village is quiet, the distant fjord reflecting the moonlight and the first stars. Yet, inside the long houses, warmth and light provide comfort. Even small movements, the clatter of bowls, the scrape of wooden utensils, the quiet whisper of a story, create a sense of continuity, a pulse that links the present to the past and the generations to come. After the meal, some villagers remain seated near the hearth, while others tend to animals one final time before nightfall. Goats and sheep are settled in pens, cows checked for warmth, and any wandering animals are guided back to safety. Small tasks continue, not hurried, but careful, reflecting the steady rhythm of life that the village depends upon. Children practice their chores alongside adults, learning through observation and gentle guidance. The fire crackles, sparks rising like tiny stars into the chimney, echoing the larger constellations visible through open windows or gaps in thatched roofs. Conversations drift between practical advice, reflections on the day, and storytelling. Lessons of survival, skill, and community are conveyed in both word and action, absorbed quietly by all who listen. Night deepens, and the village gradually quiets. The last flickers of firelight longhouses, casting shadows that dance softly across walls. The rhythm of the village slows, settling into the gentle pulse of night. Outside, the fjord reflects silver moonlight, and the northern wind carries whispers through the pines, a lullaby for the settlement. Even as the villagers sleep, the fire burns, keeping warmth and light alive. The stories of the evening linger in dreams, blending with memories, lessons, and imagination. In this quiet, the Viking village rests, safe, nourished, and united, ready to rise with the sun once more, continuing the endless rhythm of survival, community, and life in the northern lands. The village rests under a deep, star-filled sky, the fjord reflecting the pale moonlight like a sheet of silver. All is quiet, yet life continues in subtle ways. The long houses glow faintly with dying embers, and smoke drifts slowly from chimneys, carrying warmth into the cold northern night. The air is crisp, filled with the scent of pine, damp earth, and the lingering aroma of evening meals. Shadows stretch across fields and forests, softening the edges of the world, as if the night itself has settled like a protective cloak over the village. Inside, most villagers are asleep, breathing slowly and evenly, bodies tucked beneath blankets and straw mattresses. Children dream, their minds weaving the stories they heard by the fireside into adventures of gods, heroes, and distant lands. Elders sometimes remain awake, sitting quietly by embers that burn low, their eyes reflecting flickering light. They think of the day past, the work completed, and the lessons given to the young. Their reflections are calm, measured, a gentle meditation on the cycles of life, labor, and community. Outside, the forest is alive with quiet movement. Wolves may call in the distance, and small animals rustle in the underbrush, but the village remains safe, insulated by longhouses, careful fences, and the watchful care of those who understand the land. The northern wind whispers through the pines, carrying faint messages from distant hills and valleys, a reminder that life continues beyond the settlement, even as this small community rests. Occasionally, a villager rises from a longhouse, performing a quiet task. Perhaps it is a check on animals, a sip of water, or the simple adjustment of a fire to maintain warmth. Each movement is deliberate, mindful, respectful of the stillness surrounding them. The rhythm of midnight is soft but persistent, a silent heartbeat connecting all who dwell here, alive or sleeping, to the steady pulse of the village. The fjord mirrors the night sky perfectly, stars gleaming like scattered gemstones across its surface. The moon's reflection shimmers on the water, lending a sense of continuity and calm. Observers might notice the subtle patterns of wind and waves, the delicate balance between stillness and movement, and the quiet lessons of observation that the night brings. These are lessons of patience, attentiveness, and respect for the natural world, quietly absorbed by those awake and in their dreams alike. Within the longhouses, the fire's crackle punctuates the hush. Elders speak softly to one another, or offer gentle guidance to the rare awake child, whispering wisdom or recounting fragments of tales. Even the smallest words carry meaning, shaping understanding and fortifying the bonds of community. The night is both teacher and guardian, reminding all that survival, harmony, and life itself are a blend of effort, attention, and care. As midnight passes toward the deeper hours, the village seems suspended in time. Breath deepens, shadows lengthen, and a peaceful rhythm pervades. The fjord, forests, and longhouses coexist in silent harmony. Each ember, each sleeping body, each whispered word contributes to the enduring heartbeat of the settlement. In these hours, the Viking village rests fully, nourished by labor, wisdom, and the gentle constancy of life carried forward through generations. The village lies in a quiet hush, the sky a deep indigo, scattered with countless stars. The fjord reflects this celestial tapestry, dark and shimmering, as if holding the night within its frozen embrace. The long houses are still, save for the gentle crackle of dying embers and the soft breathing of sleeping villagers. Each roof, each wall, each hearth carries the warmth of life, protecting those within from the chill of the northern night. Elders remain awake in some long houses, sitting near low fires, reflecting on the day past and the one soon to come. Their eyes trace the faint outlines of the surrounding forest, the fjord, and the mountains, observing every shadow, every flicker of movement. In these early hours, the mind quiets, yet sharpens, noticing patterns and possibilities, preparing silently for the tasks that dawn will bring. Their whispers are soft, half stories, half guidance, floating in the hush of night. Children sleep soundly, wrapped in blankets, small chests rising and falling with gentle breaths. Dreams are woven from tales told by firesides of brave heroes, distant voyages, and the lessons of survival. Even in sleep, these stories embed understanding, patience, and courage, nurturing the next generation of villagers who will one day rise with the sun to continue the rhythms of labor, learning, and community. Outside, the forest whispers in the wind. Trees sway gently, and the faint scuttle of nocturnal animals reminds the village that life continues beyond its walls. Wolves may call in the distance, owls hoot softly from hidden perches, and the occasional rustle of small creatures moves through snow or underbrush. The village is secure, yet keen awareness pervades every action, every glance, every breath. Life here is intertwined with nature, respect and vigilance, a constant necessity. Some villagers stir in the early hours, a quiet trip to check the animals, an adjustment of a fire to maintain warmth, or a few moments of reflection by the fjord's edge. Movements are slow, deliberate, respectful of the stillness surrounding them. Each action contributes to the balance of the settlement, ensuring safety and continuity. Even these early moments carry lessons, silently teaching patience, care, and foresight. The first hint of light begins to touch the edges of the fjord, pale and faint, promising the approach of dawn. Shadows shift subtly, the night preparing to yield to day, and the village breathes in anticipation. The rhythm of life has not ceased. It merely pauses, gathering strength for the new day. Every ember, every sleeping body, every whispered thought contributes to the continuity of the Viking village, a testament to endurance, community, and the steady passage of time. As the northern sky begins to brighten, the village remains cocooned in warmth and quiet. Lessons from the night, reflections from the elders, and the soft pulse of life continue unseen, yet profoundly felt. The early hours before dawn are a time of calm observation, of preparation, and of subtle learning, a prelude to the resumption of labor, the renewal of routine, and the ongoing story of life in this northern settlement. The first light of dawn begins to creep across the fjord, pale and tentative, brushing the frozen water and the jagged peaks with soft hues of gold and rose. The village stirs quietly, the long houses glowing faintly as hearths are rekindled, sending thin wisps of smoke spiraling upward into the crisp morning air. The northern wind carries the faint scent of pine and earth, mingling with the lingering aroma of yesterday's meals, and the village breathes, preparing once more for the rhythm of a new day. Children awaken gradually, stretching and rubbing sleepy eyes, their small breaths forming mist in the cold air. Elders move through the long houses, checking fires, adjusting blankets, and ensuring warmth reaches every sleeping body. Soft words of guidance are exchanged, teaching the youngest about patience, care, and the proper way to tend both animals and household. Each gesture is deliberate, measured, a continuation of lessons handed down through generations. The fjord reflects the growing light, rippling softly as the first boats of the day are pushed into the shallow waters. Fishermen dip oars with rhythmic precision, the gentle sound of water against hulls blending with the distant call of gulls. Nets are coiled, repaired, and prepared, ready to bring in the morning's catch. The sea, calm and silvery, mirrors the sky above, a silent partner in the village's ongoing cycle of labor, sustenance, and survival. In the fields, villagers tend animals and crops, each movement deliberate, each action carrying both purpose and instruction. Goats and sheep are milked, cows checked for health and warmth, fences inspected for wandering animals. Children assist where they can, learning through quiet observation and gentle practice. Every task, no matter how small, contributes to the harmony and survival of the settlement, reinforcing lessons of responsibility, respect, and attention to detail. Beyond the village, the forest hums quietly with early activity. Birds awaken, calling to one another, while small mammals move cautiously through underbrush. Hunters step silently among trees, boughs ready, eyes sharp, attuned to the faintest rustle of leaves. Gathering herbs and berries, villagers balance work with careful observation, mindful of the delicate relationship between human life and the untamed world beyond the settlement. By mid-morning, the village is fully awake. Hearths burn brightly, food is prepared, and tasks proceed with calm precision. The scent of baking bread, simmering porridge, and drying fish fills the air. The rhythm of life, the unbroken cycle of labor, learning, and community, resumes seamlessly. Each step, each breath, each motion is a testament to the endurance, skill, and unity of the Viking village. Dawn returns, not as a mere change of light, but as a renewal of purpose, a gentle promise that life continues with steady determination. The villagers, both young and old, rise to meet the day, guided by experience, observation, and the subtle lessons of the northern land. In the first glow of morning, the settlement breathes, alive and harmonious, ready to carry forward the enduring story of survival, work, and community. The village is fully awake now, the golden light of morning spilling over rooftops, fields, and fjord alike. Smoke rises steadily from longhouse chimneys, curling into the clear northern air, carrying with it the scent of fresh bread, porridge, and the faint tang of salted fish. Villagers move with calm precision, each step measured, each gesture purposeful, continuing the rhythm of life that began at dawn. Men gather tools, wooden handles worn smooth from years of use, and head toward the fjord or forest. Boats float quietly in shallow waters, nets repaired and coiled with care, ready for the morning catch. The rhythm of oars dipping into water joins the distant calls of gulls, blending with the muted clang of axes striking wood for firewood or construction. Each action is part of the steady, interconnected flow of village life, an unbroken cycle of labor, observation, and survival. In the fields, animals are tended with meticulous attention. Goats and sheep are milked, cows checked for warmth and nourishment, and fences inspected to ensure no wanderers disturb the crops. Children help carry water, stack wood, or observe closely as elders demonstrate essential skills. Each small task Each careful motion contributes to the larger rhythm of the village, reinforcing lessons of responsibility, attention, and cooperation. The forest beyond remains alive with subtle movement. Hunters tread softly among trees, tracking deer or elk, their bows ready, eyes sharp to detect the slightest motion. Gatherers move quietly as well, collecting berries, mushrooms, and herbs. Each resource gathered is both sustenance and medicine, essential for health and survival. The balance between the village and the untamed landscape is delicate, requiring vigilance, patience, and respect. Back in the longhouses, women oversee preparations for midday meals, stirring pots, tending fires, and guiding the youngest in their duties. Small hands carry bowls or stack wood, each act an exercise in skill and cooperation. The lessons of labor and observation continue seamlessly, teaching that every movement matters, every task has purpose, and every member of the community contributes to the well-being of the whole. By mid-morning, the village hums with life. Smoke, fire, water, and labor create a symphony of senses, the pulse of daily existence vibrating through longhouses, fields, and fjord. Children learn through quiet observation. Elders instruct with measured patience, and each villager moves with awareness, understanding that survival and harmony depend on balance, diligence, and community. Morning work resumes, not as a repetition of yesterday, but as a continuation of the living story of the Viking settlement. Every stroke of the oar, every swing of an axe, every careful motion of tending animals or crops is a thread in the tapestry of life. With the sun climbing higher, the village moves as one organism, steady, connected, and alive, sustaining itself through labor, knowledge, and shared purpose. By the time the sun reaches its zenith, the village slows slightly, taking a gentle pause before afternoon labor resumes. The long houses glow warmly, smoke curling steadily from each chimney, mingling with the scent of freshly baked bread, roasted root vegetables, and drying fish. Villagers gather briefly, sharing meals and small conversations, their words soft but meaningful, punctuated by quiet laughter or thoughtful observation. Children sit beside elders, bowls in hand, listening as stories continue to unfold. Tales of daring voyages, ancient battles, and clever feats of survival are shared between bites of porridge or bread. Each story carries lessons: courage, wisdom, patience, and respect for both land and community. The young absorb these stories, weaving them into dreams and imagination, carrying the traditions and skills of generations into the future. Outside, men and women take a brief respite from the morning's labor. Farmers pause in fields, leaning against tools or resting under trees, observing crops, animals, and weather. Hunters return from short excursions, reporting signs of game or noting patterns in the forest. Gatherers sort herbs and berries, checking for quality and abundance. Every observation is purposeful, a necessary skill for maintaining balance between village and wild, ensuring survival through careful attention. The fjord shimmers under the high sun, boats resting lightly on its surface, nets ready for later use. Laughter mingles with the gentle hum of work, forming a pattern of sound that connects play, labor, and learning in seamless continuity. Within the longhouses, women continue to prepare food for the rest of the day. Fires burn steadily, bread bakes, and pots simmer with stews of meat, grains, and vegetables. Each meal is prepared with care, an essential component of the village's endurance. Small hands help, carrying water, stacking wood, or arranging bowls, their motions guided by patient instruction. Even these small tasks contribute to the rhythm and education of the young, reinforcing lessons of diligence, cooperation, and attention to detail. As midday stretches toward afternoon, the village breathes in gentle harmony. The interplay of labor, rest, and observation creates a subtle rhythm, teaching patience and awareness. Elders watch quietly, noting progress, providing guidance where needed, while younger villagers absorb knowledge through example. Every gesture, every glance, every motion contributes to the unbroken flow of life, sustaining the settlement through generations. The midday pause is brief yet vital, a moment to reflect, replenish, and prepare. Observations made now will guide work in the coming hours, from tending animals to repairing tools, from harvesting crops to fishing along the fjord. In this northern village, every pause carries purpose, every observation informs action, and every moment contributes to the enduring story of survival, community, and continuity. As the sun tilts toward the west, the village resumes the steady rhythm of work. The morning's brief pause has refreshed both body and mind, preparing villagers for the continuation of labor that sustains the settlement. Long houses glow with the warmth of rekindled hearths, while smoke drifts lazily into the crisp northern air. Outside, fields, fjord, and forest are alive with activity, each task a continuation of the cycle of survival. Farmers move carefully among crops, inspecting each root, stalk, and leaf. Tools strike the earth, weeds are cleared, and soil is tended with precision. Children assist by carrying water, stacking firewood, or helping with simple chores, learning through quiet observation and gentle guidance. Each movement carries meaning, teaching responsibility, focus, and the value of contributing to the community. Labor is not only practical, it is instruction, woven seamlessly into the fabric of daily life. Fishermen return to the fjord with boats laden, preparing nets for another round or repairing them with patient hands. The water reflects sunlight, shimmering across wooden hulls, while gulls circle overhead, their calls punctuating the calm yet purposeful rhythm of work. The northern winds bring both challenge and opportunity, reminding villagers that every action must be measured, thoughtful, and precise. Hunters move through the forest with alert eyes and quiet steps, tracking signs of game and noting changes in the environment. Birds flutter above, small mammals rustle in the underbrush, and the faint crack of twigs signals movement within the trees. Lessons of observation, patience, and subtlety are learned here, as each villager practices a skill vital for the survival of the settlement. The forest teaches balance, awareness, and respect, values silently absorbed through every careful step. Inside the longhouses, women prepare meals for the late afternoon, tending fires and stirring pots. Children continue to help, carrying ingredients, arranging bowls, and learning the rhythms of kitchen work. Elders guide, correct, and instruct, their voices calm and measured. Each task, no matter how small, carries purpose and meaning, reinforcing lessons of diligence, cooperation, and mindfulness. By mid-afternoon, the village hums with energy and focus. The interplay of labor, observation, and instruction creates a steady pulse of life. Each villager, contributes to the whole. Understanding that survival depends on collective effort and careful attention to detail, the sun's light begins to shift, casting longer shadows across the fjord and fields, signaling that the day's labor is moving toward its final hours. Yet the rhythm of learning and practice continues unbroken. Afternoon labor is more than physical effort. It is the continuation of knowledge, tradition, and experience. Each action teaches skill, patience, and respect for the land, the animals, and the community. The lessons of today will guide tomorrow, ensuring that the village thrives generation after generation in harmony with the northern landscape that surrounds it. As the sun tilts lower in the sky, shadows stretch long across fields, fjord, and forest. The village begins the familiar transition from afternoon labor to evening preparation. Long houses glow warmly, hearths rekindled, smoke spiraling gently into the cool northern air. The day's work winds down, yet the rhythm of care, observation, and preparation continues, each task deliberate and meaningful. Farmers make their final rounds, inspecting crops, securing tools, and ensuring that animals are safely tended. Cows are checked for warmth, goats and sheep guided back to pens, and fences inspected for any gaps. Children assist in these small tasks, learning through quiet participation and careful observation. Every movement, every gesture is a lesson in responsibility, patience, and the importance of tending to the needs of both people and livestock. Fishermen return from the fjord, their boats laden with the day's catch. Nets are emptied, cleaned, and repaired, ready for the next outing. The scent of salted fish mingles with that of baking bread and simmering vegetables, filling the village with the rich aromas of sustenance. Elders supervise, guiding both young and old, ensuring that every task is completed before the evening meal and that the village remains safe, organized, and prepared for the night ahead. Within the longhouses, women move with practiced efficiency, preparing dinner and arranging the hearths for warmth. Children carry water, stack wood, or help with small chores, their movements gentle but purposeful. Lessons continue subtly, teaching diligence, cooperation, and the value of contributing to the community. The rhythm of labor blends seamlessly with instruction, reinforcing the continuity of life and the importance of each individual's role in the collective well-being of the settlement. Outside, hunters and gatherers complete final excursions, returning with herbs, berries, or small game. Their eyes remain alert, their movements careful, aware of both opportunity and the potential dangers that linger in the forest. The balance between vigilance and routine is subtle but essential, and every observation contributes to the survival and harmony of the village. As the golden light fades, the village begins to settle into the evening. Fires burn steadily in longhouses, smoke curling lazily toward the darkening sky. The fjord mirrors the soft hues of sunset, and the northern wind carries the faint scent of pine and earth. Preparations for the evening meal, tending animals, and securing the settlement continue in quiet harmony, a rhythm honed through generations of experience. Preparing for evening is both practical and symbolic. Each action, tending fire, caring for animals, arranging meals, is a reaffirmation of the village's endurance and cohesion. Lessons learned, work completed, and observations made throughout the day converge now, ensuring that as night falls, the Viking settlement remains safe, nourished, and ready to continue its enduring story of survival, labor, and community. The sun has dipped low, painting the fjord and fields with warm golden light that slowly fades into soft twilight. Shadows stretch long and blend into one another, and the village begins to settle into the familiar cadence of evening. Long houses glow with flickering hearths, smoke curling lazily into the northern sky. The day's labor has ended, yet the rhythm of the village continues in gentle, deliberate movements. Villagers gather inside their longhouses, sharing meals prepared with care. The scent of roasted root vegetables, fresh bread, and salted fish fills the warm air. Children sit close to elders, listening to stories of heroes, voyages, and ancient wisdom, their eyes wide with curiosity. Lessons of courage, patience, and respect are woven into each tale, quietly absorbed as the young imagine themselves within the stories, learning the ways of their ancestors. Outside, animals are tended one last time. Goats, sheep, and cows are secured in pens, checked for warmth, and provided with food for the night. Hunters return from the forest, small game or herbs in hand, and share their observations with elders. Every task is deliberate, thoughtful, and contributes to the continued harmony and safety of the settlement. Children watch closely, learning not only practical skills, but also the value of diligence, care, and responsibility. Fires burn steadily, casting flickering light across walls, beams, and faces. Conversations drift quietly, filled with reflection on the day's work and anticipation of the night. Elders guide subtly, teaching both through word and example. The rhythm of evening balances work, rest, and instruction, a seamless continuation of the village's cycle of life. The fjord reflects the twilight sky, shimmering with pale gold and silver hues. The northern wind carries faint scents of pine, earth, and the distant forest. Each villager senses the gentle shift from day to night, the importance of completing tasks, and the subtle lessons of observation that accompany routine and preparation. Even in the quiet moments, the pulse of village life is alive, steady, and purposeful. As darkness approaches, the long houses are bathed in soft glow from hearth fires. Families gather, children curling near elders, hands busy with small chores or simply resting. The stories continue, the lessons persist, and the quiet harmony of evening strengthens the bonds of the settlement. This is a time of reflection, nourishment, and subtle learning, ensuring that as night deepens, the village remains united, safe, and guided by knowledge passed through generations. Evening settles fully, wrapping the Viking village in calm warmth and quiet strength. The rhythm of life continues seamlessly, preparing the settlement for night, dreams, and the continuation of daily cycles that define survival, community, and the enduring spirit of the northern lands. Night has fully fallen over the Viking village, blanketing fields, fjord, and forest in deep indigo. Stars shimmer above, mirrored faintly by the still waters of the fjord, while the northern wind whispers softly through pine and birch. Long houses glow from hearths burning steadily, filling the village with warmth and quiet reassurance. The day's labor has ended, and the settlement moves into the gentle rhythm of rest. Villagers gather close to fires, sharing the final stories of the day. Elders speak in calm, deliberate tones, recounting tales of gods, heroes, and ancestors, lessons woven seamlessly into narratives of adventure and survival. Children listen intently, absorbing the wisdom carried in each word, their imaginations alive with visions of distant lands, great deeds, and clever feats. Every story reinforces courage, patience, and respect, quietly shaping minds even as they prepare for sleep. Animals are tended for the last time, ensured warmth and nourishment through the night. Cows, goats, and sheep rest in pens, secure from wandering or predation. Hunters and gatherers complete brief rounds, checking boundaries and inspecting traps, their movements careful, quiet, and deliberate. Each action ensures that the village remains safe, balanced, and ready to meet the challenges of the next day. Inside the longhouses, fires crackle softly, casting flickering shadows across walls and beams. Food prepared for evening and night is shared in calm, orderly meals. Children assist in minor tasks, learning responsibility, attention, and the subtle art of cooperation. Every movement is part of the ongoing lesson of daily life, reinforcing the connection between work, care, and survival. As sleep draws near, the village quiets further. Conversations soften, footsteps slow, and the rhythm of the settlement aligns with the gentle pulse of night. The fjord reflects silver light, the forest murmurs faintly, and the northern wind carries both chill and reassurance. In these moments, the harmony of life, labor, and instruction is palpable, a continuous thread linking generations. Nightfall is both conclusion and preparation. Villagers rest, dreams carrying tales, lessons, and reflections from the day. The hearths continue to burn, fires steady and low, ensuring warmth through the hours of darkness. The Viking settlement breathes quietly, each ember, each sleeping body, each whispered story contributing to the enduring pulse of life. Through rest, the village preserves energy, strengthens bonds, and maintains the subtle lessons of vigilance, skill, and community. Nightfall and rest are the culmination of a day's effort, a time for reflection, and a prelude to the morning yet to come. The Viking village lies in peaceful balance, secure, nourished, and guided by knowledge, experience, and the quiet rhythm of generations living in harmony with the northern land. The village rests beneath a sky thick with stars, each shining faintly, mirrored in the quiet surface of the fjord. The northern wind whispers softly, moving through the pines and carrying the chill of night across fields and forests. Long houses glow dimly with embers still alive in hearths, filling rooms with warmth and gentle light, the steady heartbeat of human presence in the vast northern landscape. Most villagers are asleep, bodies curled beneath blankets or straw mattresses, breathing slow and even. Dreams weave together tales heard during the day, memories of work, and imagined adventures. Children dream of distant lands, great voyages, and heroic deeds, carrying lessons of courage, cleverness, and perseverance. Even in sleep, the rhythms of the Viking village continue quietly, imparting understanding and awareness to those who rest within its walls. Elders sometimes remain awake, sitting quietly near low fires, reflecting on the day's labor and the patterns of life surrounding them. Their eyes follow the flickering embers, tracing shadows across walls, thinking of past generations and the stories they will pass on. Each reflection is a meditation on survival, patience, and wisdom, a bridge between what has been learned and what must be preserved for the future. Outside, the forest breathes with subtle activity. Small nocturnal animals stir, leaves rustle softly, and the distant howl of wolves occasionally echoes across the fjord. Hunters' paths and traps are checked quietly, steps deliberate, ensuring balance between vigilance and stillness. Nature teaches patience, awareness, and respect, lessons absorbed silently by all who observe, even in these quiet hours before dawn. The fjord lies calm, a silver mirror under the moonlight, reflecting stars and longhouse fires alike. Smoke rises in thin spirals from chimneys, carrying warmth into the cold night, marking the presence of life and careful attention. Every ember, every whisper, every heartbeat contributes to the continuity of the village, a subtle reminder of interconnectedness, community, and enduring practice. Midnight reflections are both inward and outward, linking the villages to each other and to the land that sustains them. Observations, memories, and quiet thought interweave, creating a rhythm as steady as the northern stars above. The Viking settlement remains alive in these quiet hours, a living testament to vigilance, skill, and the lessons carried through generations. As the night deepens, the village continues to breathe, resting yet aware, dreaming yet attentive. The pulse of life, labor, and observation remains unbroken, ensuring that when dawn returns, the settlement will awaken prepared, guided by the wisdom of those who reflect, teach, and preserve the enduring spirit of their northern home. Before the sun rises fully, the village lies in a soft, muted quiet. The fjord mirrors the faint light appearing on the horizon, a silver shimmer that promises the day ahead. Long houses remain warm from the fires of the night, smoke curling gently into the cool northern air. The world feels suspended, a pause between night and day, where reflection and preparation merge in the calm hours before dawn. Some elders are awake, seated near low embers, their eyes tracing the outlines of the long houses, fields, and forest beyond. Thoughts drift to the work ahead, lessons to be taught, and the continuation of cycles observed over generations. Their quiet reflections blend past experience with present vigilance, ensuring that the village begins each day with knowledge, care, and readiness. Even in dreams, the cycles of life, labor, and learning continue, woven seamlessly into the rhythms of the village. Small movements in sleep, soft breaths, and occasional murmurs reflect the enduring vitality of the young, the future of the settlement, resting quietly within the night. Outside, the forest is alive with subtle early activity. Birds stir softly, rustling in the underbrush, and nocturnal animals return to their hidden places as the first light grows. Hunters quietly check traps and paths, attentive to any sign of movement. Gatherers move silently among shrubs, assessing berries, herbs, and the condition of plants for the day's use. Observation, patience, and care are central to every action, ensuring survival and balance between the village and surrounding wilds. The fjord glimmers faintly, reflecting the pale hues of morning light, and the northern wind carries the scents of pine, earth, and distant waters. Villagers rise slowly, rekindling fires, preparing water, and beginning the familiar rhythms of the day. Each action is deliberate, a combination of instruction, survival, and tradition, woven into the enduring fabric of settlement life. The first light of dawn is both gentle and purposeful, marking the continuation of cycles observed for generations. Labor, reflection, learning, and care converge in these hours, creating harmony within the village. Every ember, every breath, every quiet gesture contributes to the continuity of life, preparing both young and old for the demands and lessons of the day ahead. As the sun begins to rise fully, the Viking village awakens, guided by the wisdom of experience and the steady rhythm of generations. The first light of dawn carries promise, energy, and clarity, a subtle reminder that survival, community, and knowledge are interwoven, ensuring that life in the northern settlement continues, resilient and harmonious as it has for centuries. The sun rises fully above the fjord, spilling golden light across fields, forests, and the village itself. Longhouses glow warmly, smoke rising steadily from chimneys, carrying the scent of cooking bread, simmering stews, and the faint tang of fish. The northern air is crisp yet alive, filled with the gentle sounds of life stirring, ready to resume its endless rhythm. Villagers awaken gradually, stretching, moving, and preparing for the day ahead. Children rise from straw mattresses, yawning and rubbing eyes, their minds still filled with dreams of tales and lessons learned. Elders move deliberately, checking fires, inspecting tools, and guiding the young in their tasks. Every action, no matter how small, carries meaning and purpose, a continuation of the cycles observed over generations. The fjord glistens in morning light, boats ready for fishing, nets coiled with care, and oars dipping gently into the calm water. Farmers tend fields, inspecting crops, guiding animals, and ensuring every root and stalk receives attention. Hunters move silently into the forest, bows ready, eyes sharp, attuned to subtle movements and signs of game. Gatherers collect herbs, berries, and firewood, their work meticulous and mindful, teaching both skill and respect for nature. Within the longhouses, women prepare breakfast and coordinate the daily routines. Children assist, carrying water, stacking wood, and learning responsibility through observation and gentle instruction. Elders share quiet words of wisdom, weaving lessons of courage, patience, and cooperation into each gesture. The rhythm of life flows seamlessly from one task to the next, every movement reinforcing harmony, survival, and the cohesion of the settlement. The village hums with energy, yet retains a sense of calm, a balance between work, observation, and reflection. Every breath, every action, every glance contributes to the ongoing story of survival, tradition, and community. Lessons from yesterday inform today, and experiences of today will guide tomorrow. The northern landscape, both harsh and beautiful, continues to shape and teach, its rhythms intertwined with human endeavor. A new day begins, carrying promise, vitality, and continuity. The Viking village stands as a living testament to endurance, skill, and the delicate harmony between people and the land. Life resumes its steady rhythm, guided by observation, careful labor, and the wisdom passed through generations. Each day adds another thread to the fabric of settlement life, a seamless continuation of the stories, lessons, and practices that sustain the village. As sunlight bathes the longhouses, fields, and fjord, the settlement awakens fully, alive with sound, movement, and purpose. The pulse of life, labor, and learning flows unbroken, ensuring that the Viking village continues, resilient, harmonious, and enduring. A living story in the northern lands, as it has for countless generations. The night settles softly over the Viking village, the fjord shimmering under the gentle moonlight, longhouses glowing with warm, flickering fires. All is calm, every breath slow and steady, every heartbeat quiet. Children curl beneath soft blankets, elders rest near warm embers, and the village itself hums softly, a lullaby of life continuing quietly in the northern land. Now, dear listener, take a deep breath. Feel the cool northern breeze brushing gently. Hear the soft whisper of leaves, the faint ripple of water along the fjord. Let your thoughts drift slowly as the village rests, as the animals sleep, as the fire burns quietly. Your body softens, your mind quiets, and you float gently toward calm, gentle sleep. Remember the stories, the lessons, the quiet rhythm of life. The village sleeps, the forest sleeps, and now it's time for you to rest too. Feel the warmth of the longhouse fires, the steady pulse of life, the care and safety that surrounds every soul in the village. And in your own quiet place, drift deeper into sleep. If you enjoyed this journey to the Viking village, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so more calming stories can reach you night after night. Let the tales of courage, work, and quiet reflection carry you to dreams. And may the northern stars watch over you as they watch over the fjord. And now, it's time to close your eyes, breathe slowly, and let sleep take you gently. The village rests, the world is calm, and all is peaceful. Good night.